Top stuff. There we go. Right. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We're gonna have a little bit of a go at talking about our performance pathway over at Cricket East, going through our county age group teams, going through our partnership with Northamptonshire, which you may or may not have heard about up to this point. So I'm Sam Rose, the head of cricket development over at Cricket East, for those that don't know me. And I'm joined by two handsome chaps. I've got Luke Swann, and Kevin Innes. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves rather than me do it for you. Luke, do you want to go first?
Sure. Hi everyone, I'm Luke Swann. I'm performance lead and EPP head coach. So I look after the Northamptonshire EPP based at Wantage Road, Northampton, and I'm also the performance lead for the Cricket East and Northamptonshire Performance Partnership.
Good stuff. Kev?
Morning everyone. Yeah, I'm Kevin Innes. Been connected to Northampton cricket since I was 9 years old, really. So yeah, many years. And yeah, I've made my way through into a coaching capacity from schools cricket all the way through to now being the academy director. So done many different jobs, and really excited about this partnership that we're going to talk about today.
Top stuff. Yeah, so let's crack on that side of things. So the partnership between Cricket East and Northamptonshire County Cricket Club. So I think it was around about a year ago we sat down in a room and went through sort of common goals and things that we want to achieve, both as a national county across Bedfordshire and Huntingdonshire, as well as a first class county with Northamptonshire, and how we can work together, I think is the important way to phrase it, to benefit both sides of the room, if you like. So we got together, we ran through things, and from a performance angle, there's so many ways that we can work together. We can link the two organisations to be able to benefit the children from the pathways from both sides, to be able to improve their experience of performance cricket. So I don't know if you guys want to jump in and talk about, from a sort of Northamptonshire side of things, about what you guys have been up to over. Let's look at the last sort of 6 months, the last 8 months of winter training, and how you guys have had an impact on what we've done over at Cricket East.
Yeah, who do you want to go first, Sam?
Swanee, you've sort of got your feet under the table, so let's have your sort of view on things.
Sure. Okay. So yeah, I mean, since the sort of the inception of the partnership under the CPA, between us, our coaching staff at Northampton, we've spent some time over sort of taking part in some Cricket East sessions, which has been really good. Got a real good feel of the dynamic of the county age group pathways between Huntingdonshire and Bedfordshire, which has been very, very helpful. Historically, we've always had players from that region come through our junior centre of excellence and into our EPP. But now, obviously, with a formalised partnership and actually having an EPP centred that we'll be starting hopefully this winter with the Cricket East EPP, it gives us a really, really good direct link from the Cricket East pathways into our Northamptonshire system, which benefits both sides. Obviously, it gives the top players from the Cricket East pathways an outlet into a first-class system, but it also, on the other side of that, it provides an opportunity for coach CPD between the two counties. It has provided an opportunity for a new Cricket East talent development framework to be drafted, which we've done, and we're working on. Well, it's pretty much finished, to be perfectly honest with you. And also, it's enabled, I think, at the start of a really, really strong partnership between Northamptonshire and Cricket East, which will be beneficial across a whole range of variables, not least of all, obviously, the players being supported. I think it's also really important to outline here This isn't a takeover of any sort. You know, this is a partnership, and I think it needs to be viewed that way. The Northamptonshire pathway and EPP and the Cricket East pathway and EPP are still identifiably separate entities. So the Huntingdonshire pathway is a pathway, the Bedfordshire pathway is a pathway, the Northamptonshire pathway is its own pathway. And I think the best way to look at this is sort of an umbrella over all three entities, where we're linked together in a partnership for mutual, obviously, which is mutually beneficial for everybody, but is very much supporting players and coaches within their own pathways. So yeah, I think that's where I'd sum up where we are.
Yeah, top stuff. Kevin, do you want to touch on the last 6 months? We've benefited from a number of sort of coaching resources and things like that from you guys over at Northamptonshire. So if you sort of run through where we've been over the last 6 months.
Yeah. There's been, obviously, the last 10 weeks is sort of scuppered a load of coaching, and, you know, parents and players have been on the phone to me. That's, you know, they're devastated, and we all are. But what we've done in the last six months for our partnerships, and also with Buckingham, we've spent over 80 hours within the environment of beds, bucks and hunts. And I think it's important that our coaches got out towards the counties rather than the players always coming to us. So our coaches were professional coaches, S&C, we had fitness, we had fielding, we had, you know, many different coaches coming out there. So hopefully all the players have benefited from seeing those players. I would just go back one step. The way this was set up as well was when you came in, Sam, we had Ray Payne, our chief executive, and Callum Beryl. And I think this partnership is just not cricket. It's about commercial as well, about getting players at the cricket club, watching cricket. And if we can help commercially as well as cricket, I think this partnership is going to thrive as well. And it's a really exciting time for players, parents, to have a very clear and very smooth pathway to be an elite cricketer. Because I'm sure a player in Bedfordshire or Hunts, if they're a youngster, wants to go on to be the best players that they can be. Ultimately, to go and play for England, I would have thought. You know, there's not many people that do that, but everyone has got dreams to do that. Then play for Northamptonshire, which this pathway can hopefully provide in a very structured way, which we'll probably talk about later. So parents, players, and the organisation can be very clear that we are trying to get players through to the top and playing on the grass at Northamptonshire. All right, and that's what we want as Northamptonshire Cricket, and we're providing a lot of investment with coaches and resources to hopefully make that a lot smoother for all of us. So it's a really exciting time, and as I say, you know, to start with, it's just a shame the last 10 weeks is gone downhill. There's been nothing, because we've just come back off tour as a group. Other people have been touring. Everyone's been training the hardest they can to go and show what they can do and have the opportunity. And unfortunately, this year that's been taken away. But let's all try and be optimistic. There could be some cricket. It could look different, you know, but hopefully all you guys can play on grass or train on grass at the back end of the year. And then obviously we'll have to look forward to next year. So, yeah, all exciting times from our point of view.
Top stuff. Yeah, definitely echo those thoughts around the frustration of not being able to get out there and put this, you know, the skills that we've been coaching and the, you know, the athletes involved in our pathway have been working so hard on. But yeah, we'll hopefully get some more positive news and be able to get out there and train and possibly play a little bit towards the back end of the summer, depending on the government guidelines and so on and so forth. But yeah, fingers crossed on that front. I wanted to touch on the Junior Centre of Excellence and the EPP over at Northamptonshire. Swanee, would you be able to run through that for me?
Sure. Yeah. So the Junior Centre of Excellence is a programme that's been running at the county ground for many years. I mean, it was actually the first programme I was involved when I first started at the club back in 2010 or whenever it was. It's changed shape over the years. It's probably, it's changed sort of slightly in terms of its dynamic, but the overriding kind of principle of it is that the surrounding national counties would send in their sort of top county age group players, generally from about 13 to 16, to us, and we would run, usually about 4 sessions a winter. We'd have a big group to start with just before Christmas, which would generally be around 30, and then we'd cut that down to a post-Christmas group, and then we'd then, at the end of the summer phase, we'd look at probably the best people of that second group then to possibly come in and either train or be involved with our EPP. So yeah, it's a really strong program. I mean, the likes of Ollie Stone, Rob Newton, Alex Wakely, all those guys, Save Zabe, they've all had some involvement with that process at some point, in obviously varying capacities. Quite a few guys from our academy in the recent past have come through the Junior Centre of Excellence programme onto the EPP and then onto the academy. So that's the programme in a nutshell, really. Our EPP, which I look after, that sits just above that in the pathway structure. And that obviously consists of players from our own pathway, from the Northants pathway, and from the surrounding national counties pathways as well. That we run a group of between sort of 14 and 16 players on that. And then obviously sitting above the EPP, we have our academy that Kevin is in charge of. So that's kind of how those programs work, roughly where they sit within the system. It's not always that linear. We do have fluctuation between the programs, but that's a brief rundown of where we are. And we're very fortunate across those programs to have the likes of David Ripley, our head coach, delivering on them. We have our strength and conditioning coaches who deliver on them as well. Like I said, Kevin heads up the academy, I head up the EPP, and we have a really good input of coaching staff and specialists across those programs. So yeah, that's pretty much where they sit.
Top stuff. So if you're a junior cricketer across Bedfordshire or Huntingdonshire, and you wanted to realise and understand how you make it onto that junior Centre of Excellence or the EPP, and then make it further up to hopefully Kevin in the academy and the Northants first team, can you just explain to people how that would work? How would can you jump between them? Can you how does it fit in with county age group?
Sure. So essentially, I mean, the bottom line is the way the players get identified for our Junior Centre of Excellence happens one of two ways. The national county performance coaches will nominate the players to come forward to the Junior Centre of Excellence, or sometimes our own pathway coaches will see players during the season, when the Northants age groups are playing the national counties, and they'll see a player and come back to Kevin, myself, or Luke Pomfret, who's our pathway performance coach, and they'll say, "Oh, we've seen this lad; he's worth a look." So those are kind of the three methods of identification, of talent identification. We've obviously now, as of hopefully October, November this year, obviously that timeline is dependent on the COVID situation. But with the Cricket East EPP starting up, that will be another form of talent identification. So let's say if we have 6 players that we identify for the Cricket East EPP, maybe the top 1 or 2 players on that EPP come the end of the winter may then have the outlet to then come across if we deem it right for the player, and if the situation's right and the timing's right, that's another outlet then to come across to the Northampton Junior Centre of Excellence, or probably more likely in that situation, come onto the Northampton CPP. So that's very much the pathway in terms of talent identification. Yeah, hopefully that covers that.
Okay, brilliant. So yeah, moving on from that, I wanted to explain a little bit around. We've talked about the Junior Centre of Excellence, we've talked about the EPP and the academy above that, and our very own Cricket East EPP that we're excited to launch, if you like, later on this year. So just how that fits in, it's important to understand how that fits in with county age work and county age group teams. And making sure that is sort of a clear understanding of how that all works. So a player from Bedfordshire or Huntingdonshire may well be on the Northamptonshire Junior Centre of Excellence, or they may well be on the Northamptonshire EPP programme, but they would still be entitled to and still be very much a part of what's going on over at Cricket East. So a 14-year-old Bedfordshire cricketer would be taking part in an EPP session over at Wanted Road however many times a week. But the intention is still very much that they would be part of the under-15 squad in Bedfordshire, rather than on the Northamptonshire County Age Group programme.
Absolutely.
So just to get some clarity there, I mean, Kevin, I don't know if you want to touch on that any more around making sure that we're clear on that.
Yeah, I think it's very clear from our point of view that we don't want to deplete the age group cricketers in Bedfordshire, in Huntingdon, and have amazing under 13 cricketers at Northamptonshire, because that's going to stop some Northamptonshire players coming through anyway. So in the past, we've had cricketers come over at 15 or 16, maybe to join our academy or, you know, a higher end EPP player. But I think with this partnership, we've got to be very clear to players and parents. You don't have to come into the Northampton system early, i.e. under 11s, under 12s, under 13s, even though you might qualify, because the qualification is if you live in the county, if you're born in the county, if you go to school in the county, or the big one that parents sort of target is club cricket. So a couple of parents might have a dual registration with a cricket club. Let's take Horton, for instance. Horton's quite close to Bedfordshire over the border. A player might play in Bedfordshire at a cricket club and play in Northamptonshire. And in theory, they do qualify. They do qualify to play for Northamptonshire. But I think there's going to be a consultancy of whether that player moves over and when they move over between the coaching staff. Okay, so I think in the past we've had too many slip-ups where some people don't qualify and still try and get in the Northampton system. I think in this partnership, you are in the Northampton system, so there's no hurry to get over to Northamptonshire at under 10s, under 11s, under 12s, because you're already in the system. So I think that has to be very clear for our players. And if we think, you know, there's not many batters at Northampton at a certain age group, and Beds have got loads of batters, we might then move some players over, but it'd be more of a consultancy basis rather than an ad hoc basis. So that's why I see the qualification. That's why I see players moving around the system. And as I said before, I'm not stopping players moving through the system quickly, because we want them to move through the system quickly and play for Northamptonshire. But I think we've got to go the right way about it. That'd be my call.
Spot on. Good stuff. So loosely, Luke, if you could just loosely run through the what the talent development framework is. I know we're not quite there yet with it. It's almost ready to go, ready to launch, and the sort of timescales involved of when we might be able to get our teeth into that, which I'm guessing might have been delayed by everything going on with COVID-19. But a loose sort of description of that, and when coaches and parents and players might be able to understand that.
Sure. So the TDF or talent development framework is something that every pathway, every cricket pathway in the country, regardless of whether you're a first-class county or a national county, you're required to have a talent development framework. Very, very loosely, and this is quite a loose explanation of it, it's essentially like a guideline or a guiding principle that your pathway runs by. So, for example, anything from philosophy to values to how you would like your batters to be coached, or probably more prominently, what you would like your batters to be coached at each age group, what you're looking for. So it's like almost like a kind of blueprint, really, so say, for example, we'd like our bowlers from under 11s to under 12s to be looking at these areas, whether that's running straight, jumping straight, following through straight, their alignment, etc., etc. Those are just some very brief examples. And the talent development framework is an evolving document, so it does change year by year. It has different things brought into it. It also covers strength and conditioning. It covers psychology. It covers all the areas of delivery that the county age groups are open to having, from under 10s all the way through up to the top of EPP and academy. The talent development framework is something that's we pretty much, to be honest with you, it's basically finished. And we were, before all COVID obviously hit, we were planning pretty much dates of when we would unveil it. First of all, it'll be unveiled to the county pathway coaches, and then we would unveil it to our parents as well. And it also, under the ECB require that the talent development framework is available to view online as well. So that would be that will be available for people, parents, players to view online as well, should they want to. In terms of timeline, at this stage, as we sit here, obviously with COVID, it's pretty difficult to actually nail down when it'll be. I'm hoping, and this is hope, I'll just reiterate that, it would be around probably the beginning of October at this stage as to when we would look to implement our new TDF. Just to reinforce, that's very much subject to what happens with COVID and when our winter programs are allowed to get underway. But yeah, that's a brief description of what the talent development framework is, what it looks like, and what it's for.
Good stuff. Thanks, Swanee. One thing I wanted to just touch on briefly is, and you mentioned it a little bit there, Luke, in relation to the TDF, but I wanted to talk a little bit around the sort of personal development of our players, and that's something that we take very seriously, and I know you guys over at Northamptonshire do as well, and in Buckinghamshire with Rich. Sort of the development of obviously we're focusing on a cricketer when someone comes into our pathway, no matter what stage they come into that pathway. The obvious thing that we're looking to improve is their cricket skills, but we're also about more than that, and wanting to sort of enhance the experience that all of our young boys and girls receive through coaching and their sessions at Cricket East. So one thing we're working really hard on is the athletic development of all of our players. We work very closely with Northamptonshire for a start. Obviously, we've mentioned some of the resources that we've had come over to work with us, and we've had the S&C coach over a couple of times, and that's been fantastic and really beneficial. I know the age groups have really enjoyed working with Oisin.
Yeah, I think it's just on that point, really. I think you make a really good point there, and something that I believe very strongly in here is that we're looking to develop the person as well as the cricketer, and I think that's a really, really important point to make. When a young player comes into the Cricket East pathway or the Northants pathway, we're not just duty bound to deliver and to develop cricket skills, but we're also duty bound to look to improve and develop the person as much as possible. and that's a life skill. And like you just said there, I think we definitely, that's a really big part of what we're trying to do. So yeah, looking to very much to develop the person as well as the player.
Top stuff. Yeah, and in addition to that, we're also looking at other ways that we can work with our players. We try to push as many as we can towards some. We do some young leadership training, so pushing some of our older county age group players towards that as an option. Obviously, we don't. It's not something that we force upon them, but a leadership qualification is available out there for some of our older players around the sort of under 15. And some of the younger under 18s might be available for that. Nutrition is something that I'm keen to work hard on and make sure that we educate our players as much as possible on nutrition as well. And the final thing to mention on that topic as well is that we are working really closely and launched a bit of at Cricket East. We've got a great partnership with the University of Bedfordshire. And have already been in for and sort of fitness testing day over at the university, making use of their fantastic facilities and working with the sports science team over there. That was a brilliant day. I think we had our under 17 or under 18, sorry, age groups and under 17 girls, as well as the under 15 boys and girls, go over for a fantastic day of fitness testing and also learning about physio and things like that from the team over there. So something that we're really keen to build on and work closely with further is the relationship that we've got with the University of Bedfordshire over at Cricket East. So I thought I'd mention that as well. And a big thanks to them for all of their support over the year. Just finally, the last thing I thought I would touch on is just a little bit around where we're going. So I don't know, Kevin, you might want to touch on where do you see this partnership going, and is there anything that you'd like to add?
Well, yeah, I think all the stuff that we've been doing was a great starting point. As I said, so many hours, so many coaches coming out, partnership growing, and I see more of the same. I see more coaches. I see more resources being moved over into Bedfordshire and Huntingdon, and I see more players wanting to come over to be coached at our place. I see more coach education for coaches, for all of us to be upskilled, and that's us getting specialists in so we can all learn. So from a player's point of view, I think we've got a lot of it covered. From a coach's point of view, I think we've got a lot of it covered. So I think running more and more of those sessions can only be a good thing. If we were looking at dreams and loads of money and everything else, I would like to think that we could put quite a substantial indoor school in between Bedfordshire and Huntingdon to get a really good facility for players to play. Ideally, there'll be a ground or two on that facility. So if we were looking to the stars, that would be one of them, and money was no object, and we can get grants and stuff like that. And I think that'd be good for players to train in I'm sure they're training at Bedford College and Kimbolton School and everywhere they're training. They are very good facilities, but to have your own facility dedicated to cricket whenever you want, that would be one of our dreams for Bedfordshire and Huntingdon. If we can help with that in any way, we will. I'd like to think we can go on tours together, if that's possible. I think it's really important that players are touring these days. You look at the England team or international teams, they're away for quite a lot of the year playing cricket. So it's just giving them an education of touring and what that looks like and can they handle it, and giving them some skills. If they ever did go and play county cricket, which they are away for a lot of the games, 4-day cricket, you're away for 4 or 5 days in a hotel, then you've got another 1-day game. You could be away for weeks on end. So it's just how they can organise themselves and manage themselves around touring. So if we can help in facilitating some touring with you guys, I think that'd be good, international tours. So, all these are dreams, all these are reality, I think, as well. We have spoken about them heavily before 10 weeks ago. so let's just hope that can happen, really. And I'm just really excited to do more of the same and more of, so if we can keep coming more sessions, if the players enjoy us coming out, we'll just keep coming.
Top stuff. Brilliant. Thanks very much. Yeah, that's it really. A sort of a loose introduction to all things performance cricket across Cricket East and the links and the fantastic partnership that we're building over with you guys at Northamptonshire. So I'll just touch on the fact that we're going to hopefully do some more of these. I want to do one focusing on the girls, focusing on the sort of the region and the direction that we're going with girls cricket, and I'm hoping to have another sort of recording similar to this with Danny Warren, the new regional director of women's cricket, at some point. So I'll hopefully get that in the pipeline and be able to organise something soon to focus a little bit more on the girls' side of things and their pathway and where it leads for them. But other than that, I think that's a bit of a wrap. So we'll say goodbye. But thanks very much to Luke. Thanks very much to Kevin for joining us today.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, chaps.